Lions fans and Lions players have been eagerly awaiting the first day of padded practice. Well, now it's officially here, and boy, was the intensity on a whole nother level. We're going to talk about it in this episode, folks, so don't you dare go away.
What are we? What makes us what we are and what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10, 5, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions fans, and welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving on in. So it is officially here, folks. We have had our first day of padded practice at Detroit Lions training camp. It feels as if football is officially back in some sense. Yes, we're not playing football games. Yes, we haven't gotten to the first preseason game. But when them pads come on, oh boy, it feels like football is now officially back. You're hitting people, you're getting physical with people. Now it's time to play football. It's getting real. And so, this was definitely one of those practices where everybody was waiting to hear what the news was going to be. Everybody was hoping to get something that was going to be interesting, something that was going to be, really, really special. And boy, did the information not disappoint. And with that, we're going to talk about the reports that are coming out of practice, both from Justin Rogers and also from Tim Twentyman. And I'm going to give you guys my input on it. So, without further ado, let's get into it here. So, first, we're going to take a look at Justin Rogers' options, and we're going to take a look at what he had to say. The first thing that Justin Rogers put out is that, in essence, the one thing, I'm just going to say this right now. When it comes to football, as an old school football player, yes, I know, I'm only 30 years old, but let's understand something here. I was one of the last of the generations that actually got to play football when football was still physical, when we weren't coddling players, when it was like, hey, you go out, you do 2-a-days. Hey, you go out and you're freaking, you're thwopping people. You're going out and you're having a very physical practice, and it's like, hey, you get hurt, you get up, rub some dirt on it, and you go back and play. Well, one of the things I can say that I love about Dan Campbell in, comparison to the rest of the NFL is that when it comes to Campbell's training camps, they are known for their physicality. They are known for being extremely rough in comparison to other training camps. And that comes right from the Parcells tree that he is associated with. Well, when we take a look at what happened at training camp today, the report that I got from not only from Justin Rogers, but also from Tim Twentyman, is that after they'd gone through their stretches, their individual drills, and all that nonsense, they then started the actual practice with a tackling drill. What better way to pretty much break them pads in but by going with a tackling drill? Absolutely love it. They decided to do a tackling drill called a 1v1 situation. Unfortunately, the NFL no longer allows what is used to be known as an Oklahoma drill. It's now just, hey, 1v1, hey, you're standing opposite of somebody and it's your job to try and get through the other dude, or it's that dude's job to try and tackle you. So, what did we have here? Well, both sides kind of got their shots in. Both sides kind of got their ability to show off a little bit. The first thing that was reported from both sides, or both reporters, was that Laporta pretty much got Anzalone pretty good. He had this jump cut move that made Anzalone kind of grasping at air. And this is one thing about Laporta that I really, really like. And it's something that has followed him ever since he was in college. Laporta has always been good at 2 different things when it comes to his ability to play tight end. Number 1, he always gets extra yards after the catch. Even if he gets tackled, even if he gets hit, he is still going to find ways to pick up that extra 1, 2, maybe even 3 yards before he goes down. He just does not know when to quit. I love that fact about him. He has a motor that just does not stop. But the other thing I like about Laporta that's also tied into that very same thought vein, is that Laporta is very good at getting guys to miss. He is very excellent in being able to get the first man to miss. And this whole ability for him to include a jump cut along with, the different kinds of other moves that everybody is used to, whether it's, a juke or anything else, it's giving Laporta more options to be able to say, hey, I can make guys miss and I can pick up extra yards. Again, it's adding another versatile option in this offense of being a just explosive group. So there was that. The next guy, oh boy, I've been waiting to hear something about this dude. And I know that there's a certain fan of mine, DC8091, he's definitely going to love this. Malcolm Rodriguez. Rodrigo apparently had a really, really good hit on a rookie, Sione Vake. And I call it a really good hit because it was kind of like a welcome to the NFL moment. Hey, it's the first padded practice. You're going to get your bell rung. Well, according to freaking both Rodgers and to Tim Twentyman, Rodrigo freaking, he thwopped Sione Vake. He spearheaded him and pretty much, burrowed a hole right through his chest, and he took the rookie right to the ground. And it's like, okay, welcome to the NFL, Rook. You just got your bell rung. That's kind of like, okay, this ain't college no more. Welcome. But it's all in good fun. It's all going to make the players better, whether you're the one that's getting tackled or whether you're the guy that is tackling. But great news to hear. I've been wanting to hear something good about Rodrigo, and this is a really good piece about him. Another big piece that was also talked about in the tackling drill is that Montgomery is again continuing to show that he has an ability to, be an important part of this Lions offense. Again, a lot of people have been talking about Jahmyr Gibbs this offseason, and justifiably so. Gibbs is very electric. He's very dynamic. He is very much somebody that everybody is excited about. But Montgomery, don't overlook him. Montgomery still has the ability to be extremely relevant, and he still has the ability to be extremely productive. Apparently, during the tackling drill, Montgomery showed his ability to have power to just, bulldoze through people. And one of the best examples of this was when he had just an absolutely crushing stiff arm on Jack Campbell and pretty much just went through his tackle like it wasn't even there. So again, you're seeing how both offense and defense, they're going back and forth. They're putting their physicality on display. There's very intense back and forth that's going on here. It's awesome. So that was the first thing that was talked about. The next thing that was talked about that I saw in reports was that the cornerbacks overall had a pretty good day when it was doing the 1v1 drills with the wide receivers. Not necessarily the entire day, but overall the cornerbacks had a pretty good day. According to what Justin Rogers said, the lone interception of the day came courtesy of Stephen Gilmore, which that's another name I've been waiting to hear something about because Stephen Gilmore is a guy that I think really deserves a shot, especially after what we saw from him in last preseason where he was just lighting it up. He was looking like he belonged to play, and apparently he had the lone interception of the day. Apparently what had happened is Nate Sudfeld He underthrew a fade route to Tom Kennedy, and pretty much what happened is, Stephen Gilmore, he kind of got his head around, he tracked the ball down, and he was able to get underneath it and intercept the pass, which that is good. You want a cornerback that's able to look around, have the ball skills, have the awareness to be like, okay, where is the ball in the air? And if it's underthrown, instead of continuing to run with the wide receiver, slow down, come back to the ball, and get the interception. That's what you want, and this is something that shows the progression of Gilmore, which should be able to allow him to have yet again another opportunity to make this roster and maybe even play a little bit. So that was one thing that was reported that was very good. Another thing that was reported was that Amik Robertson, and Carlton Davis had two particularly strong outings today in regards to the veteran cornerbacks. Apparently multiple pass breakups were given between both of these guys throughout the entirety of the practice. And according to Tim Twentyman, this was, in his opinion, Carlton Davis's best practice so far. So again, that's what you want to hear. We traded a third-round draft pick for Carlton Davis. Carlton Davis has been kind of quiet over the course of training camp so far and over the course of minicamp and OTAs. But when the pads came on, it's like he was able to play, he was able to step up, and he was able to make those plays that made him such a, I wouldn't say like a star for the Buccaneers, but he was a very solid cornerback option. And you want that out of a veteran corner. And I'm going to say this right now. Amik Robertson, this is a guy that has a ton of swagger, he has a ton of confidence, and I think that's also going to play very, very well for this cornerback group because it's like, listen, Even though this is a young cornerback group, this is a cornerback group that got a lot of swagger. This is a cornerback group that loves to play, and they're going to be very chirpy. And Robertson, he seems to fit right at home, and the fact that he's able to play with all these wide receivers that we have is a good sign. So, that was another thing that was talked about. Moving now off of cornerbacks, let's talk about the defensive line. So, defensive line, I'm going to say this right now. What I heard from Justin Rogers absolutely made me euphoric because pretty much what he said is that the Detroit Lions run defense, it picked up damn near virtually right where it left off because they were able to fill running lanes, they were able to get their gap assignments down, they were doing their job very, very well. They were actually making it very difficult for running backs to be able to find open space. One thing that was talked about is how Broderick Martin, he looked extremely strong in this drill. He was constantly getting into the backfield, constantly freaking being a disruptive force. And again, this is something that I know for a lot of Lions fans, they have been waiting to hear because Broderick Martin has kind of been a little bit of an afterthought for a while. Yes, he did get some conversation a little bit earlier on because it was like, hey, he came into camp, he looked slimmed down, he was making a lot of headway and a lot of news cycles because of that, because of how he looked like he was an Lee McNeil 2.0. But now it's like, hey, you're actually starting to see the results on the field. Now that he's got the pads on, it's now starting to actually come out in film. It's actually starting to come out in practice, and it's like, okay, if this guy can actually live up to the hype of what we were pretty much being told by Brad Holmes and, obviously Aaron Glenn, then this is a guy that realistically, along with DJ Reader and along with Lee McNeil, you've got a really formidable interior defensive line rotation. Then, according to also Justin Rogers, this was something that really caught my attention. According to him, he said that there was only one rush on the entirety of the day that was longer than 5 yards. Other than that, the defense pretty much shut down the running components for the entirety of the day, and the only rush that was for 5 yards or more was by Zonovan Knight when he ran through a diving arm tackle by Derek Barnes. I'm telling you this right now. If that's what's happening in practice, and it's the first padded practice of the year, I'm telling you this right now, this defense is going to be a running back's worst nightmare. We were the number 2 rush defense last year. I'm telling you this right now, I would not at all be surprised if we are the number 1 rush defense this year. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if teams just don't try to run against us because of how damn suffocating our run defense is. Which, again, that's not just a testament to the linemen. That's also a testament to the linebackers. Now we're going to kind of talk about a little bit about edge rushers. We're going to talk a little bit about pass rushers. In the pass rushing drills, I'm telling you this right now, the one thing I wish I could actually go and see in training camp is when Hutch and Sewell are going back and forth against each other. There actually was a clip that was just released. I'm going to put it in here, and it's like, dude, whenever Hutch and Sewell are going at it in practice, it's must-see absolute entertainment because those two, they're two of the best at what they do, and they literally have motors that do not quit. So it is literally an immovable force or an unstoppable force versus an immovable object. Who the hell's going to win? It's a 50-50 toss-up. You just got to watch and see what happens. Well, according to what was reported, both of these guys got 2 reps against the other, and they split both in victory. One got one, and the other one got the other. But apparently what had happened is Hutch won his by having a nice outside move, and Sewell got his by planning and pretty much standing Hutchinson straight up. Pretty much Hutchinson couldn't go anywhere. So again, you got 2 guys that are at the best of their abilities, they're top in terms of their craft, and it's just like, man, I love hearing this because these 2 are constantly making each other better. And when it comes time to actually play opponents, they're going to take what they learned against each other and they're going to apply it to others, and it's going to make them even better. Now, one other person that kind of made a surprising, inclusion here was Marcus Davenport. Marcus Davenport kind of showed up, and he also showed that, hey, he has the ability to also still be an effective pass rusher because, again, it was reported that, hey, he was actually kind of making some sweet moves. He was kind of actually doing his job, not only in terms of pass rushing, but also in terms of being able to drop in coverage, also in terms of being able to provide run support. So it's like, hey, if Marcus Davenport can actually stay healthy, and again, big freaking if, but if he could actually stay healthy, Marcus Davenport might actually have something of value to add to the Detroit Lions. But again, big if on if he's going to be able to stay healthy. I hope and pray that he does, but we'll see what happens. Now, to kind of end all this off, because we've been talking a lot about the defense, we're going to talk about the offense here for the last little bit here. Justin Rogers reported that, how do I put this? He said that he couldn't talk necessarily about all the specifics, but what he could tell us is that from what was happening in practice, it is apparently obvious that the Detroit Lions are going to do whatever they can to make sure that Jameson Williams has every potential opportunity to get the ball in his hands. Which, I mean, why the hell would you not want this kid to have the ball in his hands? He's literally a stick of dynamite waiting to explode, and every time he has the ball, there's a good likelihood that it's going to go somewhere good and possibly even for a touchdown. So yeah, I can understand why the Lions would want to make sure Jameson Williams has the ball in his hands, just like Amon-Ra St. Brown, just like Sam Laporta, just like Jahmyr Gibbs. It's just like, dude, choose your poison, but you're going to get bit somewhere. That's the beauty of our offense right now. It's like, with Jameson Williams now starting to flourish, it's like, dude, you can't find a way to get around our weapons. Our weapons are going to get you somewhere. So there's that. And then to kind of finish this off, dude, again, those clips that were kind of coming out, I saw a whole bunch of stuff here, and again, this was talked about, I believe it was in Tim Twentyman's report. He talked about that at the end of the team period, there were two passes where Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown, they apparently had two plays where Goff and St. Brown had these two massive completions where they picked up 40 yards where they were just completions over the middle. And again, that right there again highlights the freaking chemistry that those two have, because it's like, dude, you know the ball's going to Amon-Ra St. Brown. You know that's the first option. But yet, regardless of whether or not you know it's coming, you still can't stop it. And when you think about it, keep that in perspective as I show these clips. Jared Goff was out there, and I mean, you see these clips. It's literally every single time Jared Goff is throwing the ball. And I know it's Jared Goff because Jared Goff is the one that's wearing the blue leggings. Nate Sudfeld doesn't wear leggings, and obviously Hendon Hooker, he's the only African American. So again, I don't mean that to be rude, but it's kind of obvious to figure out who's who. But you take a look at Jared Goff in these throws. Take a look at the ones he's got to freaking Jameson Williams. Take a look at the one he's got to Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think there's two of those. Take a look at the one that he's got to freaking Khalif Raymond. It is literally just dot, 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 dot. Like, these are balls that are coming right over the shoulder. They're perfectly placed. Jared Goff is literally right now just throwing with absolute precision, perfect ball placement. And again, I cannot wait for what we're going to see when we actually get to the regular season, because obviously the starters are not really going to play in preseason ball. They might get a quarter, if that, or maybe a series. But the point of the matter is that when you see what Goff is doing, when you see what Amon-Ra St. Brown is doing, when you hear what all these other starters are doing and how they are already showing that they are near midseason form or they are playing at a very high level, it's like, dude, This is the culmination of work that has been coming up over the last couple of years. It's like, listen, these players are so damn locked in. They are so fundamentally sound. They already know exactly how to get the job done. They know what their standard is. The coaches don't have to tell them. The coaches don't have to get on them. They're already there. It's just like, hey, we have a schedule that we have to follow because of the NFL rules. Because of that schedule, let's get the job done. Let's put in our best work, and let's do it again tomorrow. And that's what you're seeing. This Lions team, I guarantee you this. There's probably no other team right now in the NFL that is in such perfect synchronization and such perfect chemistry with itself like the Lions. And that right there ought to scare the ever-living crap out of the rest of the NFL, because it's like, dude, our rush defense already looking mid-season form. Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and the wide receivers, they look like they're already ready to potentially go out and play a game. I mean, dude, you take what you want, but we look like we are ready to win a Super Bowl. We look like we are finally ready to make that jump, and I can't wait to see it actually happen. But anyway, having said all that, I'm going to end the episode and say thank you all for watching yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, highly encourage you all to watch the next episode. Also encourage you all to watch any other previous content that I've already released. I also want to encourage you all to subscribe. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and you not had a chance to do so, again, I also want to encourage you all, make sure you hit that bell notification icon so that way you never miss any more content that I push out. Want to also finally encourage you all to please share this content with your Lions friends, and family members. Share here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you can with everybody and anybody that you can. The more we share it, the greater the channel grows, the greater the channel has a reach, the greater the channel spreads. And with that being said to everybody, I hope you all have enjoyed the content. I hope you all got something in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. And I also just want to hope and pray that you guys are in the best of places. God bless. And until the next time we meet, I'll see y'all in the next episode.